Hello again, everyone, and welcome back to Skyblock News. I'm your host, Derailious, and today we're going to be going over the first price hike of gems in Skyblock's history and what it means for the server going forward. Before we do that, though, make sure to like and subscribe and use code RAIL in the Hypixel store for 5% off your order. And without any further ado, let's get started here. So we are going to be spending most of our time here on the forums today. The team writes, "We've got a pricing update to share today, and we want to walk through it honestly rather than bury it in a changelog. On April 15th, so you still have a few days, the amount of gems available in each bundle, as well as the cost of said bundles, will change. Overall, the result means an increase in cost on a per gem basis by about 15% across every tier. Hosting costs, DDoS protection, processing fees, they've all been climbing steadily, and they've been absorbing those increases year over year. And this is true, they have not changed the price of gems since they came out the first time around. In fact, since then, they've added other ways to get gems. Creator codes have come out, which have given people 5% off their orders, and they've also added them to MVP++. Same thing with bits in general. There's been a larger amount of them over time through stuff like museum upgrades and things of that nature. Not justifying this change, by the way, just stating what's been going on over the past few years. We've reached a point where the current pricing just doesn't cover what it costs to keep things running and our team paid fairly. Historically speaking, we've only changed our prices once for ranks in 2014, and it was a price reduction. All of our prices have actually never gone up. So here are the Skyblock gem prices in USD. The new amount for the lowest bundle is 700 gems for $6. Previously, this was 675 for $5. The new amount for the second tier is 1800 for 15. Previously, it was going to be 1390 for 10. Now it's 3750 for 30. Previously, it was 3600 for 25. It's now 7600 gems for 60 bucks. Previously, it was 7300 gems for 50, and it's 17,000 gems for $120, whereas previously it was 16,400 gems for $100. So as you can see, the total amount of gems has gone up, as has the price. So the price has increased by about 18-ish% per gem. Here's what is not changing, though. The gem cost of every item in-game stays exactly the same. A booster cookie will still be 325 gems. Nothing in the store is being repriced. Hypixel Gold is completely unchanged. The in-game store will reflect the same updated bundle pricing. And any gems that you already own keep their full value. If you have 1,000 right now, you will still have 1,000 after April 15th. Nothing is being taken away. This change is about keeping the team together and allows us to keep developing new content, maintaining the network at scale, and making sure the people who build Hypixel every day can keep doing it sustainably. That's the trade-off, and we think it's the right call. So that is the statement there from Don. Very, very interesting news. This is probably some of the biggest news to hit the network over the past year or two, so let's head in game and talk about it. My initial view on this is pretty mixed. Generally, I'm not a big fan of price increases. I want things to be accessible for the players. I feel like, especially recently, after inflation, prices for things like booster cookies have been pretty good relative to the cost. Especially over the last half decade, we've seen relatively high inflation in the real world, which makes gems more affordable by comparison. Things have been in a pretty good spot in that regard. However, obviously, Hypixel does need to continue to make money in order to survive as a studio. I've already seen some comparisons to Fortnite, who raised prices kind of recently. I think this is a little bit different, though. Hypixel is indie. It's not a AAA major studio with thousands of employees. They're not laying anybody off, and they're not really spending money in an absurd or weird manner, from what I understand. Seems like the server is just doing this to try to survive and continue to thrive. They have a lot of content in the pipeline. I think a lot of people would have preferred if something like a price hike came after the release of significant content, but that's just how this tends to work out. Is eventually they look at their financials, they look at their situation, they say, listen, we need to raise prices, or we're not going to be able to keep everybody around and keep them paid the amount that we would like. So that's the nature of things at the moment. Let me know what you think about this, though, down below. Wrapping up here, this is kind of a difficult topic. Usually we don't get into Hypixel's finances on this channel or covering stuff like this on a week-to-week basis. I hope that the team is able to find some stability in terms of their finances, and hopefully in the future we don't continue to receive price increases. The price of hardware in general and hosting services, etc., have increased a lot over the past year specifically, and it's just not a great situation to be in, so I imagine that they were under a lot of financial pressure. Would love to hear all your thoughts about this down below. Leave them all there, and look to the future, fellas. I'll see you then.